Before there was iPhone versus Android, before there was Windows versus Macintosh, there was PC-DOS versus MS-DOS. And if you ever had to make that choice, check your mailbox. Your AARP card just arrived. Welcome back to the show. I'm Akorn, and today is Friday, which means it's time for Gen X and Millennial Memes, where we remember when cartoons ended with a good moral to the story, phones had cords, and nobody cared about your pronouns, just your cassette collection. If today's show gives you a laugh or at least some fond memories, remember to hit that like and subscribe. We have a great show today, but first, here is today's pop quiz. Which popular 1980s toy line was based on tiny, grotesque versions of the Cabbage Patch Kids and became a collector's craze? If you think you know, drop it down in the comments. And stay tuned, because we'll give the answer later on in the show. Most of today's society.
You don't understand how bad words hurt.
Literally everyone born before 1995. Yeah, this is definitely true. And the further you go back in previous decades before this, the more true it is. Funny how the days that felt the most ordinary turned out to be the most unforgettable. In many cases, this is true. The official field trip Yeti in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, and it worked pretty well too. We live in an era of smartphones and stupid people. Man, ain't that the truth. I'm positive no one here will know what this is. If you do, you're old. Is it getting that bad, guys, that nobody even knows what a soldering iron is? I still use these quite often, especially when I'm trying to repair something. The most reliable truck ever built. No matter if you're a fan of Chevy, Ford, Dodge, GM, or others, I think most of us can all agree that this was the best truck ever built. And oftentimes, they've lasted longer than the real counterparts. Don't mess with me. I'm a wooden spoon, lead paint, no car seat, no bike helmet, pickup bed riding, garden hose drinking, survivor. Very true. Also sounds like a good t-shirt. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a design like this. Don't piss off old people. The older we get, the less life in prison is a deterrent. Ozzy Osbourne once joined a Christian protest march against himself outside one of his concerts. I'm sure most everyone has heard about this by now, but Ozzy Osbourne dies, surrounded by love, weeks after farewell show. Rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has died. He was 76 years old. And it was only a couple weeks after his farewell concert, which I believe was on July the 5th. Hulk Hogan, pro wrestling icon and pulp culture mainstay, dies at 71. Terry was the face of pro wrestling as the entertainment form took off in the 1980s. I just heard about this morning, and I'm actually including this clip after the fact of this video being originally made. We've been losing a good number of people in these past months who we grew up watching on TV. A lot of people would say that 71 is really old. But for the younger generations out there, think of it like this. What if you only saw the spring arrive 71 times? Or you only got to enjoy your summer vacation 71 times in your life? And here's another point. The current retirement age for most people is 67 years old, and they're wanting to move it up to 69 or even 70. And even now, many people never reach the retirement age these days. Back a few years ago, I had a good friend of mine who passed away 1 week after he turned 60. This life is short and passes quickly, so we all should try to use our days on this earth as wisely as we can. The mud will wash off, but the memories will last a lifetime. Normally, I'd have questions, but after the last few years, I think I'll just keep driving. Well, you might be looking around for a tornado, but if that was the case, I don't think you'd have to look very far. I'm so old, I remember when climate change was called spring, summer, autumn, and winter. That is very true, and it was also before all the climate engineering as well. We didn't fear germs, we feared missing out on the fun. Only a true old-timer will be familiar with this, and that's just kind of sad in my opinion. I bet many of you will know what these women are doing. Who's old enough to remember switchboard operators? How many of you guys believe that the special effects that was used in movies back in the day was a lot better than the CGI effects that is used today? Here's just one example that's pretty interesting to see how exactly that they actually did it.
How do you make a house implode? Well, this is how they did it in Poltergeist.
Exploding is easy. Imploding is something else.
Someone actually said, well, why don't you just blow it up and put the film backward? That isn't imploding. You can't do that. It needs to implode.
Everything you did had to look real. We built a miniature of the house with a garage.
It had little bicycles in the inside, it had lawnmowers,
Rakes. There was furniture inside the house.
It was built out of balsa wood and paper, and I soaked them in bleach and water so that the balsa wood lost its energy so that they would snap like pasta does.
We were using hundreds of pieces of piano wire attached to pieces of the model. And this whole mass of wires were attached to a forklift. The idea was the forklift was going to take off, and at a certain point, it's going to just pull this thing over. And I had a pair of shotguns. The shotguns were to help it down into the hole, because it all had to be pulled down into this hole that was about this big. This is a one-trick baby. I mean, to do this again would have been another 50, 60 grand or something like that, at least.
We lived back in a day that even our toys could smoke cigarettes. No one will know what this is. I think most of the guys of our generation and before will know exactly what these are and what they're used for. I grew up in a time where you don't drive off until you know they made it in the house safe. That is very true, and it should be a rule now, especially with how bad things are these days. I'm not going to read all of these, but this is pretty much true, especially the bottom right panel concerning today. One important thing that must be beside your bed at night: a cordless hole puncher. And second would be a glass of cold water. Remember when your mom would bake and you'd get to lick the beaters? Those were the days. And clean out the bowl with a spatula too. Kids today will never experience this level of excitement, nor the disappointment when you actually get them back.
Look at the handles.
Just put a little weight on the heel.
Oh, he's out of town.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
So before you close that strap, we can tighten it more if you want. There's buttons right here on the inside of your pant leg. There's a, I don't know if you can see this red one.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and press that green button there. That'll tighten.
Oh, that's the same.
Our laces, all right.
'80s Gatorade. Give me a shot of hose water. Straight, no chaser. The more I get to know people, the more I understand why Noah only let animals on the ark. That's true, but even then, we still ended up in the place we are today. Some of you never grew up having this fiery spit of Satan dabbed on every skin, knee, and cut, and it shows. You see, son, people don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth. Now, read that in the voice of Foghorn Leghorn. Today's pop quiz question was, which popular 1980s toy line was based on tiny, grotesque versions of the Cabbage Patch Kids and became a collector's craze? The answer is the Garbage Pail Kids. Happiness comes when we stop complaining about the troubles we have and offer thanks for all the troubles we don't have. Kids have safety scissors now, but we were totally allowed to use the classroom guillotine at 10 years old. Fact check true. This photo was submitted by one of my viewers, Nick, who took his vehicle in for new tires. The owner of the garage had this posted on the wall. And look, it even has wood paneling. Many people won't see it. If you see the problem with this picture, just write "seen it" down in the comments. What does it look like I do for a living? Solve mysteries with a dog. Do you remember the first original seatbelt? Yeah, and even after seatbelts was in every vehicle, most people never used them, so this was still the norm. The older you get, the more you realize time is the real treasure. Yeah, once a moment passes, you can't get it back. And when you look back at all the years gone by, you realize just how short all those years really were. A lot of people already knows what this is actually about. If you don't know, go watch last Sunday's show. It's funny how growing up makes you long for days you didn't know you'd miss. This was better than screens. I agree 100%. I've never had a vehicle with all these screens in it, but I've seen quite a number of them. And one thing I don't understand, it's against the law now to hold or even touch a cell phone, but yet I had someone tell me that they have to flip through 3 different screens in their car just so they can turn their AC on. To me, that sounds even worse than texting. A butterfly style double-edged razor. I have a butterfly razor that's similar to this, but it's a much newer model compared to this one. Back in the day, if we got hurt, we didn't sue. We laughed and did it again. It's very true. I'd say most of my viewers know exactly what this is. But for those who don't or may have forgotten, here's a hint. They came in sets of 2. I'd say about a third of you guys will know what the G stands for. That moment when the wind shifts, the skies darken, and every country kid knows it's about to get good. When the telephone was tied to a wire, humans were free. Well, at least a lot more so than today. The fabulous weird checklist. Give yourself 1 point for each thing you've never done. Operated a rotary phone. Slid a floppy disk into a PC. Typed on an actual typewriter. Snapped photos with a film camera. Played music on a CD. Really? That actually made it onto this list? Rewound a cassette tape with a pencil. Dropped the needle on a vinyl record. Rocked a Walkman like a rebel. Blasted tunes from a boombox on your shoulder. Watched a movie on VHS and prayed it didn't jam. Sent or received a fax like a business wizard. Recorded songs from the radio like a mixtape hero. Rented a VHS at Blockbuster on a Friday night. Heard the screech of dial-up internet. Looked up someone in a phone book. Sent a postcard with actual handwriting. Used a paper map and didn't get lost. Owned a proper dusty dictionary. Had a whole encyclopedia collection. Well, I got 0 points. How about all of you? How did you score? The best thing about being over 50? We did all of our stupid stuff before the invention of the internet, so there's no proof. Studies show that people with more birthdays live longer. You know what the sad part is? I truly believe that there's some of the younger generation that wouldn't get this. No screens, no navigation, just beautiful simplicity. What was your grandpa's name? I need an old-fashioned boy's name. My grandfather's name was Gilbert. My dad's middle name was supposed to be Gilbert, but on his birth certificate, it just had the letter G. It's just how it was back then. And I'll end today's show with this. The real luxuries in life. According to society, luxury is cars, expensive clothes, a lavish lifestyle. But the real luxuries are slow mornings, freedom to choose, a good night's sleep, man ain't that the truth, peace of mind, calm and quiet days, being present, people you love, and people who love you back. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and share the video. I'll see all of you back here on Sunday's show. Until then, I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe out there. This is Akorn, over and out.